Hi guys, welcome back to the WebDemTro tutorial series. I haven't made any video for a long time because I was busy with work. Sorry for that. So I'm planning to make a video on select options in ABAP WebDemTro. Now for that, before that, I would like to explain about field symbols and the data reference objects because we're going to use them in select options tutorial. So this video I'll cover the field symbols, and in the next video I'll cover the data reference variables. So let's start with the field symbols. Okay, so what are field symbols? Field symbols are a different kind of variables in ABAP language which can be used to point to the contents of another data object. Right, when I say they declare the usual variables in ABAP, right, using the data keyword, use the variable name and use the type, and then the data element. So the field symbols, for field symbols we have a different keyword, a separate keyword in ABAP, which is field hyphen symbols. And so whatever the variable that you want to use as a field symbol, you should include that in angle brackets like this, right? And are declared using the keyword field symbols, and whatever variable you want to use as a field symbol should be included in angle brackets like this, and then use the type addition here. Okay, so what I've done here is I've declared two variables the normal way, and then I've declared a field symbol. Okay, and the first variables I'm assigning value 3 here. Okay, and then I'm using the move statement, so moving the value in the var1 to variable 2. And okay, this is something new. So how do we assign values to the field symbols? Is using assign statement. So I'm using assign var1 to field symbol 1. So what happens now here is whatever the content that is present in var1, that is 3. So the fs1 now points to that value here, right? So again, the difference between the normal variables and field symbols is when you declare a normal variables, the physical memory is allocated for that variable, right? But when you declare field symbols, there's no physical memory allocated at the time of declaration. So the memory is allocated only when system encounters the assign statement. So only after this statement a memory, physical memory, is assigned to this field symbol here. So now the field symbol now refers at the points to the content of this variable var1. Now okay, I'll come to what is why we need to use this if statement here, but what we will do right now is okay, I'll just comment out this write statement and see. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm just writing fs1 here. Okay, and then I'm writing var2, right? So let's see the output. So we have value 3 in fs1, we have value 3 in var2, so perfect, right? Now let's do one thing. What I will do is, as I said, in fs1 now points to value 3 here, and also whenever you change something in this fs1, the value in var1 actually changes, right? So that's the difference between normal variables and field symbols. For example, if I change var2 to something else, then var1 doesn't change. var1 still contains 3. But if I change fs1 to, let's say, 5, and the var1 also changes to 5. Okay, if you don't believe me, let's do one thing. Let's try that in debugging, right? Okay, so let me put a breakpoint here, and I'll execute this. Okay, so let's see what's there in var1, 3. Okay, what's there in fs1? It's 3. Now I'm going to change this to 5. Bingo. See, the value in var1 also got changed. If I change to 10, if you haven't observed it earlier, let's see now. So it is 5. I've changed fs1 to 10, and the var1 shows 5. So if I click on enter now, done. So 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 essentially what happened is the fs1 points to the value directly, the content of this variable. So whatever you change in the fs1, you're basically affecting the content of the var1. So that's the difference between the normal variables and the field symbols. Okay, if statement does. The other thing that you should keep in mind when you use field symbols is it's easy to get short terms when we use field symbols, because um, as I said, the memory is not allocated at the declaration time of declaration, so it is allocated only when you assign something to fs1. So if you try to access this field symbol before the assign statement, or if you try to access this field symbol when there is no value, or when there is no data object assigned to it, then you get a short dump. Now to avoid that, whenever you use a field symbol in any of the operation inside ABAP code, you have to first see if it is assigned. So SAP ABAP SAP does a keyword called is assigned. So this will check if there is any data object assigned to the field symbol. So only then I have to use that inside the code, inside any operations in the ABAP. So for example, if I, let's say, to demonstrate that, if I unassign it, right? So what I'm doing when I say unassign, statement does is it unassigns the field symbol. So basically it is nullifying this statement, right? Now when I send it, and now I'm trying to write it again. Let's see what happens. Okay, I get a dump. So this is the usual very common dump that we get when we use field symbols in the code. Get WA not assigned, field symbol has not yet been assigned, right? So that's why I'm getting that dump. So to avoid the dumps, you should always keep in mind, you should always check whether the field symbol is assigned or not before you use it in the write statement, or you use it in the sum loop statement, anything. Whatever you do with the field symbols, you have to make sure that it is assigned first. Now you can also use clear statement here, but what is clear statement does is, as it is with the normal ABAP variables, it just clears the value. It doesn't actually unassign the field symbol. Okay, let's see. So now here fs1 should be 3. Now I cleared it and then writing it again. Let's see what happens. So it's coming as 0. Right? So it just clears the value, not really unassigns it. So that's the difference. Right, so okay, one of the advantages of field symbol is we can declare field symbols as generic types, which means if you don't know at the design time what is the the data type you're going to work with, and you're going to you will know that only at runtime, then you can declare a variable or field symbol type any. So this field symbol can point to any data object. It may be a simple field, it might be a structure, anything, right? So that's what any means. It can point to any of the data object. So what I've done is I've declared this is an usual way of declaring the internal tables in the work areas, right? Using type table of and using the type, and then I've declared two field symbols, the generic data type. Okay, and I just have a table which is called ymovie, right? So it has like year, category, nominee 1, 2, 3, and the winner. Okay, and I'm just selecting the values from the table into this internal table. It's a normal select statement, and here is the difference. So what I'm doing now is I'm looping at this internal table and assigning the value to the field symbol here, fs line. And okay, I'll come to this write statement later, but what I'm doing here is if I want to access, now the FS line is not referring to any type, any specific type here. So but the LT movie refers to Y movie, right? So if you want to access one of the field from that line, right, using this field symbol here, I cannot use, this hyphen and the field name. That's not possible because let's see if I just uncomment this and do a syntax check. So if I do a syntax check, I get this error: the data object FS line has no structure and therefore no component called category. That's because at the design time, when you write the code, I haven't declared that with any of the data, any of the structure. So system doesn't know if there is a field, a component called category in the structure. So that's why we're getting error. So we cannot use this statement here. Then how do I access different components of this line, the table? So SAP gives us this the statement here like this: assign component to, or if you know the position of that field in the structure, you can use this when component to of structure this to another field symbol, right? And this field symbol also declares a generic field symbol. Or other way of doing it is, if you know the name of the component of the structure, assign component category. So category is one of the field in the structure, right? So I want to access that. I can just mention assign component category of structure FS line to FS field. So both the statements are equally valid. And once you have that component in this internal, in this field symbol, you can say if FS field equal to pick, then write. Right. Let me comment out this line. So what I'm doing, I'm just selecting. I've selected some entries from this table, and then I'm just conditionally printing the values using field symbols. Let's see. Right. So yeah, the category is pick here. Okay. So only those lines are getting printed. So these are you access certain components of a structure using field symbols. And then I'm unassigning the first line. Okay, so this is one kind of generic type declaration for field symbols. There's other way. If you want to access tables, you will also have type any table. Now this variable here, the field symbol, can point to any table, any kind of table object. So this I have already have LT underscore movie here, which refers to Y movie, and I'm assigning this LT movie to the table field symbol here, right? So at the design time, I don't know which table this field symbol will point to. It doesn't matter. So if it's a generic type addition, so I can assign any type of the internal table to this field symbol here. So I've done this, and then I'm doing a simple loopet and then printing that. So what happens? Let's see. Let me just comment on this. So ideally what should happen is I'm selecting all the entries to this internal table, and then I'm printing it. So it should print all the entries in the table. And so yep, these are like all the entries in the table. Okay. Okay, so let's see how do we use field symbols for internal table operations. So one of the big advantage of using field symbols is in some cases when you're processing large amounts of data in internal tables and you want to modify the values in the internal tables, then the field symbols really improves the performance. Like, let's see how we can do that. So I've defined a field symbol if it's movie, and I'm just using the usual the type definition, and I've declared two variables to measure the runtime. And what I'm doing is this LT movie is what I've selected here. So I'm just selecting what are the entries that are present in the Y movie table into LT movie, and I'm just repeating it for the 10 times, appending the entries to the interval again. So what will happen is, let's say this has 10 entries at the you know at the beginning of the loop, uh, then it will be like 20, and then that, so 20, right? So and then I'm adding the 20 again to the 20, so it becomes 40, and then 40 to 40, 80. So it'll be like a lot of entries in this internal table. And to just measure the performance, how do we how much time it takes to process this internal table? So use this get runtime field statement, and this will get the current time before the execution of this loop, right? So what I'm doing inside the loop is I'm just taking each of the entry in this LT movie, and then I'm just modifying the winner field to changed, right? And then modifying the table. Okay, so basically all the winner fields in this table will be modified with the value changed. And then again, after the end of the loop, I'm using the same get runtime field to get the time, and the difference of those times is what the time that took for the execution of this loop. It may not be exact uh, execution time, but it will just gives us an idea of how much time it took. And the same thing, the same kind of operations I'm doing with field symbols here, right? Using the field symbol. So here, instead of taking it to a work area, I'm assigning the line to a field symbol, and then just modifying the winner value. So if you see the difference between these two loop statements here, right? I have to use a specific modify statement to actually modify the line in the internal table, right? But here I don't have to use any modify statement. Why? Because the field symbol actually points to the content of the line. It doesn't point to the variable, it points to the content of that variable. So when I say loop at LT movie assigning y fs movie, so each of the line, for example, let's take the first time it enters the loop. So the first line, right, the first line is assigned to this field symbol, which means the fs movie points to the actual content of the first line. So when I say fs movie hyphen winner equal to change again, the content itself is changed. So I don't have to specifically use another modify statement to change the value. The value is already changed. So this actually improves the performance a lot. So I'm doing the same thing, right? I'm measuring the time before the loop execution, after the loop execution, and taking the difference and printing it. Okay, so the first runtime is for the loop statement for the normal variables, and the second write statement is for using the field symbol. So let's see how much time. So if you see here, there's a lot of difference in the runtime, and this is for like, I think maybe 1,000 entries. But if you think of processing, maybe 30,000 or 40,000 entries in an internal table, then this is a huge difference in the performance. So if you uh, if you want to process large amounts of data in internal tables in a program, always go for field symbols, but make sure that you do the error handling first. In the sense, when you do this, for example, you have to have an if statement to see if this is assigned, right? Otherwise you're going to get dumps in production system, which is very bad. So be careful with field symbols. They are prone to errors, but they're very helpful in terms of performance. And when you want to do dynamic programming, when you don't know the data object type that comes to the program at design time, you only get to know at the runtime. In that cases, you can use generic type field symbols, right, and then achieve the functionality. So that's it for the field symbols. I hope I've explained everything, and the next video I'm going to cover the data reference variables. So yeah, see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Thanks for watching.